Hello, Dan and Nikki. It is Friday, 27th of July, and for those of you watching this who are not Dan and Nikki, you can ignore all the audio and just watch the video. This is, let's see, Noah Hamilton. Oh, there's Noah. Mason Smith and Allison. Allison, I don't remember your last name. I'm sorry. And I am on camera. Not on camera, but I am on the camera right now. And we were out this morning, Friday morning at 7 a.m. At the rope swing at the lake at the airport, which is definitely the spot of our next Masters workout. So, obviously, I put this video up for a couple of reasons, so that other people can watch us doing backflips off the rope swing. And obviously, I did slow mode. So that's Mason. Anyway, so that's kind of what this video is all about, and I figured while I'm doing this I might as well make some responses to your other videos, both Dan and Nikki. So again, if you are not Dan and Nikki, you are welcome to mute the audio and ignore it altogether. Gosh, let's see. Head trauma. Dan, you said that was the day after Sarah's birthday. I'm wondering if that wasn't some sort of cover as an excuse for not getting her a birthday present. Just suggesting. And you were, let's see, what do you say? That's your 37th minor concussion. Actually, it's interesting because I think one of the very next topics you talked about was Gareth taking his permit test. This was actually explain a lot about the way your kids drive. And I'm just curious, have you taught all of your children to drive immediately after getting concussions? So I think, again, that may explain something. Dan, you were talking about geomorphology change. And actually, I'm wondering, is that not redundant? Doesn't geomorphology imply change? Maybe not. And then you're going to Hawaii with Sarah and Melissa and presumably the kids. Are you going with the kids as well? So hopefully you are. But just make me a promise, would you? Would you let them swim at least one time without having to wear a rash shirt? So I'm just saying. I mean, they're never going to be California surfer dudes if you don't let them go without shirts on. Nikki, your Grand Canyon trip, I know I talked a little bit of that in the last video, but Dan is correct. It was nice seeing your kids. Also, was that not the first video, I think, that we actually saw Mike? Now, granted, he wasn't exactly singing and dancing or playing guitar, but we did get to see him in a very intense moment checking his phone. So, more action photos of Mike just like that. You were making the comment when you gave the camera to whom? To Maddie? To make some shots that you said just make sure you avoided all the fat parts. Well, that would also imply your boobs. So, and in my opinion, those are integral parts of all videos. I'm just saying. So, let's see. You were talking about, God, were you already back in Vegas when you were going to jump into the pool from your hotel room window? Is that what you were saying? Because that sounds really exciting. I recommend that. Let's see, more recent videos. Nikki, you said you broke your toe. Now, did you do that during softball? Were you kicking something after striking out for the 8th time? I'm just curious. I can't remember what you said. I thought that's whatever it is you said. I think you were just covering up for the fact that you were striking out and you got mad and kicked something. Softball, meaty part of your palm that hurts. Yes, you're right. I mean, if you are catching first base and you don't catch that ball in the web of the glove and you catch it up in the meaty part, yeah, it's gonna hurt. But you're right. Pushing on it, I know exactly what that feels like. It's kind of fun. So, and I think that last part of your video that you cut in, entirely in the wind. I think Dan commented on that. It's funny because that actually reminds me of, I don't know if you remember where Schweitzer was, the Schweitzer office building was in Pullman, Nikki, when you were in school there. On the north side on your way out to Palouse, kind of that last industrial development, manufacturing development on the right, just before you leave Pullman. But it was always windy, of course, in Pullman in general, but always windy up there especially. And it seemed like we were going to alarms there all the time when I was in law enforcement, and constantly having to... Ooh, actually, hold on, let me interrupt, because here I go. Climbing up the hill with the rope in hand. So what I've got, you guys, on this video is I've got the GoPro camera on my head. Now the problem is it doesn't float, so that when I hit the water, I'm gonna have to hold on to it. So,
we had this waterfall when I was in high school.
but yeah, a lot of fun. So anyway, going up there, and what we would have to do is we would have to. We would go up, we would all take a corner of the building, and we would stand there until the responsible person showed up, sometimes 30 minutes away. So we'd be standing there in the wind for 30 minutes trying to talk on our mics, which it was too windy, you couldn't hear anything. So, but it sounded almost exactly like that video you made. So, all right, here's go. Ready? And go. And go. And go. Oh, I think I must have put it in slow-mo. Yeah, you guys are really, next time you come out, you're going to have to come on this rope swing with me. I think you'd really enjoy it. Even in the winter. I think we should do a November rope swing here. Ooh, oh, fun. So anyway, let's see. Shingles. You also have shingles, Nikki? Good Lord. What kind of life have you been living that God is punishing you? I think God has turned the devil loose on you. I mean, Lord knows I've been experiencing that. And personally, I'm hoping that, you know, the devil stops paying me so much attention. You know, it's like the book of Job here, and it sounds like it's happening the same thing there. So, so yeah, you've got shingles. I think this was on when you were at what, on the coast of Oregon somewhere, or were you on the coast of Washington? Anyway, you're on the coast, and you guys are swimming in really cold water. So, which some of us think is a good time. But anyway, so you've got shingles. Yeah, I think actually Beth and I have a lot of theories about shingles. Did you, by any chance, have the chickenpox vaccine when you were a kid, and did your kids have shingles? I mean, excuse me, did your kids get chickenpox? What happens is that chickenpox virus sort of lays dormant, and eventually it pops back out, and then creates all sorts of havoc, mainly in the form of shingles. But we have a theory that if you're around kids with chickenpox often enough, it's like a booster to the vaccine that you get naturally. So anyway, so I'm sorry you had that. Hopefully it didn't last that long. It can be incredibly severe. I know I had a guy, again, back to law enforcement, that I was in the academy with when he got shingles, and he was out for almost a week. Also, you know, it's great seeing people in bikinis, but I demand grown woman bikini shots. Kid bikini shots are not acceptable. Chinese kite flying. I love it. I love that they're out flying the kites. And if they had been Chinese kites in the shapes of large dragons, that would have been doubly cool. Water temperature. What was the water temperature? Did you actually, with your analog and digital thermometers, go out and measure it? Here's Mason coming right over. I love that shot. That's so cool. And in the water. Anyway, You said something about grown up, and I don't know what that was about being grown up, and maybe it's because you didn't want to yodel. By the way, yodeling, I do not think yodeling is corny. And I don't suppose either of you have heard of Slim Whitman, have you? If you haven't, you need to YouTube, do a search on YouTube for Slim Whitman. He was a sort of a cult yodeler. He didn't yodel in a cult, but he was a yodeler back in the 70s, and he had this cult following. And yours truly, in fact, went to a concert of Slim Whitman's. Believe it or not, he was playing after a Atlanta, God, I can't remember the name of the team, but it was the indoor soccer league, the National Indoor Soccer League that was going on back in the 70s. And Atlanta had a team. My dad and I went to the game, and afterwards Slim Whitman was playing. And there were all these Georgia Tech students mobbing the front of the stage, throwing quarters, I think, onto the stage. I don't know what it meant. I'm sure it was metaphorical.
That's really funny.
But Slim Whitman, yeah, he's great. Great yodeler. Also, my bus driver when I was a kid in elementary school, she yodeled. And I was actually in love with her because she yodeled so well. The yodeling bus driver, it was like something out of The Simpsons. I mean, it was amazing. But she was so... God, what a great... I mean, that was when bus drivers actually, were warm and they cared for you and they yodeled to you when you were not well and picked you up at your driveway when you were late. Those were the days. I tell you, those were the days. So back over to Dan. Dan, you said this is your 9th concussion, I guess, not your 47th. Well, close enough. By the way, you may be in a coma right now when you're making this video. So right now when I was watching your video, you may very well be in a coma. And I like your approach. Hey, I'm going to be in a coma whether I go to sleep or whether I don't. So I might as well, go to the farmer's market and play some music and, goof off. So, by the way, you talked about... Oh, this is great. Watch this. Awesome shot. That was Allison trying to do her first backflip. That was great. Well done, Allison. If you're watching this, I think that was the best of all of them. So I can't wait to see you try to do a double backflip. That's gonna be really cool. So anyway, Dan, you were talking about having not that big of a family, but I have to tell you there are tons of haugs in this area. I mean, it's like every day I run across something with the name Haug on it. We also actually have somebody running for mayor. I can't tell you what her name is right now because it's going to be a surprise. I'm going to go take a picture of her campaign sign. But she must be a derivative of your family. But no, really, there are lots of Haugs. The band director at the high school, his name is Haug. There's a ton of Haugs over across the river, so in Wisconsin. So I'm actually going to make it my goal to find your family. So I'm going to work on that. I'll let you know what I find. Let's see. Shotgun mic, a lapel mic. How about an interoral mic? You can just put it in a cavity and do it that way. So that's just, one man's suggestion. Exercise vigorously. Let's see. By the way, something about exercising vigorously. I don't know what you had said, but, dude, we're 44. We don't exercise vigorously anymore. I mean, this is as vigorous as you get right here swinging, out of a rope swing. This is Mason, by the way, with my GoPro camera on. But watch what happens when he goes upside down. It's actually pretty funny. So anyway, and you're trying to think of some good things to do while Sarah's out of town, other than sitting on your butt, playing MLS soccer. And okay, now watch this. Ready? He's going to go upside down, and oh, there goes the camera. By the way, the camera doesn't float. Did I mention that part? Okay, ready? Oh, there's the hands of the dead coming to get the camera. Wah. So anyway, I'm sure you can find something to do. You can sit around, you can play music. In fact, you'll probably sit around, you'll play music, you'll watch MLS soccer. I would go to slate.com and read some articles and get all worked up. That's what I would do. Let's see. Foster the People video. Dan, I appreciate you sending that to me, but honestly, I really don't like the guy's voice. It sounds like he's just talking on key. That's all he's doing. He's not really singing. He's just talking on key. That's, I don't know. You've got a way better voice. I keep telling you that, Dan. You need to be the lead singer for lots of bands because very few of these bands actually have anybody who can sing. So here I am on, this is me coming at you. Wah! Okay, Mason, move camera. There you go. And in the water. So anyway, new sign off. How about I don't know. I don't know what it is. I mean, you guys can say Still Dead, but obviously I'm not saying Still Dead for obviously Still Dead reasons. So anyway, that's the three of them. So I'm gonna just close this thing now and be done. So be well and swim, and of course not be weary.